Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video just doing a little bookshelf tour to show you guys some of the books that I've read in the past and will be reading in the future, hopefully. My bookshelves aren't organized in any particular order. Mostly it's just in the order I get them, I'll stick them on a shelf. I try to keep authors together if I can, but sometimes I read the books by the same authors so far apart that I really don't feel like rearranging my entire bookshelf just to make that work. It's also kind of nice just because I'll know exactly when I've read books based on where they are on my bookshelf. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, so up top we have a little photo collage that my friends made me when I was 17, but those aren't books, so we won't focus on that. We have Peony and Love, Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility, and Sing Them Home, which are on the top of my bookshelf because on the side I have flowers that I have dried and kept over the years, and I use them to just hold the flowers up and make sure they don't fall. And then my first bookshelf, I have a lot of books on here that I read a long time ago. Some of my favorites though, including A Long Way Down and The Phantom Toll Booth and Special Topics in Calamity Physics, which is kind of a debated book about whether or not it's good, but I enjoyed it a lot. Moving down, we have my Harry Potter series, Spud, which is hilarious, and I think everyone in the world should read it. Sarah Vowell is one of my favorite authors, so you can see a chunk of her books there. I highly recommend those if you like American history at all. And of course, I have my Beauty and the Beast Squinkies because I'm obsessed with Beauty and the Beast, and I think these things are adorable. Okay, these are mostly books that I read in high school. A lot of those smaller paperbacks are the ones that I had to read in high school. So we have To Kill a Mockingbird, Catcher in the Rye, Grass Dancer, Room with a View, a lot of the classics that you kind of read when you're going through your literature courses in high school. We also have the complete Sherlock Holmes volume 2 sitting there that I bought a while ago. Bill Carter's Desperate Networks because I love reading about television and the business side of television, Jon Stewart's America, because that book's hilarious. As we keep going down, we get to the books that I started in probably my end of sophomore, junior year of college. The Count of Monte Cristo, which took me the entire month of July one year in order to finish because that thing is massive. I have a David Crowder book sitting there, which I also really, really loved. And then down here on the bottom shelf of this specific bookshelf, just a lot more books that I read in college. The Know-It-All, which is really funny and I enjoyed a lot because I thought it was really interesting how this guy read an encyclopedia, because when I was little I used to read random entries in the encyclopedia because I'm a nerd like that. Empire Falls, which is a really, really great book. A Fraction of the Whole was hilarious. Fraction of the Whole by Steve Toltz was a hilarious book and I really think everyone should read it. On my second bookshelf, we have my tigers that sit up top and keep guard over my room. This is the first shelf, a couple classics, a couple nonfiction books. I have the biographies of Eleanor Roosevelt, which I absolutely loved because she's kind of amazing. On the second shelf, we have some Chuck Klosterman books, which I enjoy because he's all about pop culture and I love pop culture books. I have The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which was a great, great book that everyone should read. And if you see, I have some stones sitting on top of my books, and that came from church when someone spoke about the story in Joshua when the Israelites crossed a river and then they made a stack of stones, and it was so that they could always just remember what God has done for them, and then the speaker gave out stones for all of us to keep, and so that way we can remember what God has done for us. So I always like that, so I've kept the stones. This stack, we have a lot more random books. We have Stuff Christians Like, which is a hilarious satire on Christians that I just love so much, and I read the blog all the time, so thumbs up for that. Some Max Lucado books, the Millennium series. I do have the third one, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, which I'm currently reading, so hopefully a review will go up soon, and then I'll have to rearrange these books so that way the three can sit together. Down here I have the Hunger Games series, Matched, The War for Late Night, which again I love because I love reading about television and I love Conan O'Brien and the whole late night debacle that went down. One of the things I wanted to show, or I highly recommend from this shelf, is the President's Daughter series, which you can kind of see in that green, blue, green, purple towards the end of the row there. I highly, highly recommend it if you like anything young adult and slightly political, but not really. It kind of felt like the teen version of The West Wing almost, so if you like The West Wing, I highly recommend that. And then also the two books next to that are Treasure Island and Pride and Prejudice. I just love these covers, so I bought these versions. And then at the end of my bookshelf, I have a container holding copies of Milwaukee Magazine and some other newspapers, just because I was a journalism major, and those are just some of the magazines and newspapers where my articles were featured, so I just wanted to keep those. And then on the final shelf here, I have the complete works of Shakespeare, because that was a class I took in college, so obviously that was a book I needed to buy, and I kept it because I love Shakespeare. Will Grayson, and in French Kiss, Virals, which I liked okay for now, which I talked about in my first video. Obviously I loved it. I have the Kathy Reich series sitting there, or at least some of the books. I haven't read them all yet. And Game of Thrones, which again I loved, but it was so heartbreaking that I haven't continued on in this series because I'm too scared to. And the final place where I'm currently storing books, because you could obviously see that my bookshelves are kind of full. I've actually started keeping books inside of one of my dressers. This dresser was empty. I just kept it here because it was heavy and I didn't want to move it. So now obviously it's coming in handy because I'm starting to put books into my drawers, like Rory from Gilmore Girls. There's actually a lot of books in here that I really loved. There's the Ivy League series, which you can see there, Secret Society Girl, Under the Rose, Rites of Spring Break, and Tap and Gown, which I loved. I love reading about either boarding schools or Ivy League schools, so this completely fell into that and was really great. Admission was another book about Ivy League schools. It's about Princeton. Obviously it's not really about Princeton, it just kind of takes place there, but I still loved it because of that. Paper Towns, The High Society, I highly recommend if you want something super light and fun, and it was kind of like Ocean's 11 for teens. I feel like I keep saying everything is something for teens, but that's just how it works. Mindy Kaling's book sitting back there. I have Lola and the Boy Next Door sitting back there, and I think there's another book back there that I can't really see from this angle. And then over here are books that I really recently finished, like within the last month or so. I have the Divergent series, which I will probably be talking about because I just read those. The Fault in Our Stars, which obviously was amazing and everyone in the world basically loved. And a couple other books here are books that I'll hopefully be doing reviews on, so you'll hear more about that later. And finally, it's my box of books. These are books that I have purchased that I have not read yet. There's probably a good 20 to 30 books in here, which is why I'm currently on a buying hiatus. I actually said I wasn't going to buy any books this entire year. That was my New Year's resolution, until I actually read the books that were in here. Obviously that didn't happen. A couple weeks ago, one of the bookstores around here in Chicago called Open Books had a sale where they had $2 paperbacks, $3 hardcovers, and I'm not completely sure how anyone is supposed to resist that. So I ended up buying a good 10 or 15 books just at that alone, which basically negated anything I read this year. But hopefully I will actually stick with it. So these are a couple books. You can see a couple titles peeking through. I won't be going through this box of books right now just because this is massive and it would take too long. But maybe a couple of these will show up in one of my future videos. Okay, and I thought I would show you this final bookshelf I have in my room. Obviously, it's not books, it's movies, but I thought it would just be interesting to show you. I'm not a big movie person, but when I do love a movie, I like to buy it. So up there, obviously you should probably recognize a lot of these because they're mostly popular movies. I have the Simpsons movie, Dr. Horrible, Back to the Future series, Shawshank Redemption, which is my all-time favorite movie, The Truman Show. Down here, a lot of my Disney and Pixar movies, The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, Inception, Iron Man. That teddy bear is a present from friends in high school. That Psych ball was actually autographed by one of the writers on this show who I was able to meet last year, and they autographed the ball for me because it was my birthday. Now my TV shows, there are a lot of seasons here and a lot of sets of shows, so you can obviously see the ones that I really love. Gilmore Girls, the entire series. I have the entire series of Friday Night Lights, but a couple of boxes are missing because I let my friends borrow them because that show is amazing and everyone should watch it. That little one at the end is the cartoon Batman Beyond, which I was kind of obsessed with when it was on the air, and my friend bought me the first season, so I kind of love it. I have The Simpsons seasons 2 through 10, so obviously you can tell I love The Simpsons. I have the entire series of Everwood, a season of Modern Family, and The Good Wife sitting there. And going on down, I have Bones, which I really love. Anyone who knows me knows I love Bones. Arrested Development, Veronica Mars, The Office, West Wing. And on my final shelf, I have a lot of books, movies. A couple are missing. There's season 2 of Dexter, I think, is sitting down there because I think someone has my season 1. Joan of Arcadia, Supernatural, How I Met Your Mother. I have seasons 1 through 3. I think that's just season 1 sitting there. The rest are out. Psych, Parks and Rec, and 30 Rock. So thanks for watching my little bookshelf tour. If there are any books that you saw on my shelves that you want to know more about or know my thoughts on them, feel free to either ask in the comments or you can check out my Goodreads, which I'll leave a link for below. Or if there are any books that you kind of want to see real reviews from, especially if they were towards the end of the video, that means I read them recently. So if there are any books that I didn't mention and you want a review for, feel free to let me know about that. Or if there are any books on here that you absolutely loved or absolutely hated. I just love to hear other people's opinions about books. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe and I'll see you next time.